What's going on, everybody? This is Kevin from Daily Mobile, and today we're going to be comparing two phones, two Windows Phone 8. This is the HTC 8X, and on the right hand side here you have the Nokia Lumia 820. I've decided to go with these two phones just because if you're going to compare Windows Phone devices, these two are the ones you're going to compare. I believe the 920, the Nokia Lumia 920, is kind of in a class by itself. And if you're going to Verizon or T-Mobile or any place except for AT&T, these are probably pretty much your top two choices. So we're going to go over just a little bit of what you can see on the front here. Okay, they're both 4.3 inch screens. As you can see, the HTC is much taller than the 820. I prefer this ratio as opposed to what they call widescreen ratio on the 8X. That being said, the PPI is much higher. On the 8X, it is 341 PPI as opposed to the 216 PPI here on the 820. You really can't see a difference from here. Once you get into like web browsing and that type of thing, you will see a difference in the screens. They are both set on the same color. As you're looking at them, for comparison, they're both set on cobalt. The 820 seems to be way brighter or crisper. As you can see, the darks, sorry about that, are a little darker than on the 8X. This one is set on medium brightness, and this one is set on just as far up as it can go. Now what I'm going to do real quick for you is I just want to kind of pick these up and show you side by side. We'll do a hardware, and then we'll go back to other things on these two devices. Again, as I was saying previously, you can see just how much taller the 8X is and skinnier than the 820. And another one of the advantages, I feel anyway, of the 820 is, well, let me get in front of the camera there, it would help. If you could just see how much easier it is to find the buttons on the 820. Like, you can barely see the buttons. Right there they are. Or it is. There's your rocker on the 8X. And there's your lock unlock on the side there on the 820. And down there is the camera button on the 8X. You can barely see that, but on the 820 it's real easy to see. Now the lock unlock is on the side on the 820. On the 8X, it's right there up top. And being that it's a taller device, it's kind of a pain to reach for when you're locking it and unlocking it. Again, it might be a personal preference, but I kind of prefer just a quick side unlock hit on the Lumia and then the ability to open it. That being said, with both devices, this one is much thinner. You barely notice it in your pocket at all. And it's lighter too. Let me get the spec here. The 820 weighs 160 grams, and the 8X weighs 130 grams. Believe it or not, they are both the same thickness. They're both 10 millimeters. Let's see. Let's get you a side view of both of them together again so you can look at that. What's going on with the 8X is it's really tapered. I don't know if you can get a good shot of that for you, but it's really tapered. There we go. It's really thick in the back, and then it tapers down. Like I said, it does feel thinner in the pocket, but it also just feels a little bit weirder in your hand. Not really a fan of the sharp edges too much, but that's something to consider. They both have 8 megapixel cameras on the back. The HTC has a single LED, and the Lumia has a dual LED flash and a Carl Zeiss lens. Also to be noted on the HTC is that it does have beats where the Lumia does not. They both run 1.5 gigahertz dual core processors with 1 gig of RAM. And the HTC has 16 gigs of internal storage, while the 820 only has 8, but the 820 does have room for a micro SD card. So I give the advantage to the 820 on that one. And other than that, there's really not that big of a difference between them. The HTC has a slightly bigger battery. The HTC has 1800 milliamps, where the 820 has 1650 milliamps. And unless you have a Verizon version of the HTC device, you will not get wireless charging with it. However, on the 820 you can buy wireless charging shells, but it does not come with the device itself. Overall, which one should you choose as a consumer? That really depends on what's important to you. For my money, I am going with the 820. I just don't like the feel of the HTC, even though it's a solid device. I can't get used to the longness of the device in my hand, and I just can't get used to the edges of it. The Lumia just feels meatier in my hand. So that's something you're going to have to be aware of when you make your choice. In fact, it was my deciding factor when choosing between these two devices. And then also, naturally, you're going to have your proprietary apps with both devices. Let's take a quick dip into the App Store for both of them. Pretty much the best reason to get the HTC for proprietary apps is right there is the hub. I really enjoy having that time really big on my front screen. I enjoy the HTC hub a lot. Let's go into both stores real quick. It's just the Nokia collection's much deeper. As you can see on this side, there's Photo Beamer, which is a really great app where you can beam your photos to any computer or TV or other cell phone just by scanning the QR code really simply. Smart Shoot is a good app where you can exchange faces. Creative Studio and Cinemagraph are great photograph apps. Nokia Transit's a big one. I used that when I was in New York. Nokia Transit, it gives you the schedule of all your mass transit and how long it'll take you to get there, kind of like a Garmin for public transportation. Nokia Music is another great one. It gives you free streaming music, kind of like a Spotify. And then again, of course, you have your Nokia Maps and your Nokia Drive, which is a free turn-by-turn GPS, and your Nokia City Lens, which is your virtual reality to speak. You hold the camera up and you walk around and it tells you what's in buildings, which is pretty cool. And then on this side with HTC, they have the HTC flashlight, which is good. I use it. The photo enhancer, which is a decent photo enhancer, but you can pretty much get that anywhere. And that's pretty much it. So overall, for your value, unless you're really in love with a thin device, the HTC does not hold the same weight to me as the Lumia 820, just because of the app selection, because of the expandable storage and form factor. If you guys have any questions, you can feel free to leave it in the comments. I'll answer anything I can for you. Or you can just feel free to send me a tweet. I am at Nokia Knowings on Twitter. Thanks for watching.